all these young adults here that need to draw attention to themselves.
5.5 solving absolute value inequalities.
All right.
Day 1.
We're going to start our first day on solving absolute value inequalities. Everybody put your hands up in the air like absolute value symbols. What the bejesus do absolute value symbols look like? Henry's got a touchdown going on over here. Okay? Everybody, right there, those up and down lines. Okay? And what's the, well, in your own words, what's the definition of absolute value?
Distance from zero.
Everybody say this. Distance from zero.
Distance from
That's a little enthusiasm.
Distance from
Distance
zero.
from zero.
There you go. Okay.
Sorry,
All right.
sorry.
We spent time earlier this year solving absolute value equations. This one's isolated. Everybody break it up. Everybody solve that absolute value equation. Pretend it was on a weekly review.
I got it.
Talk me through it, Olson.
Alright, so you grab two little dashes, so you break up it. The first equation is 2x plus 3 equals 7. And then you go minus 3 minus 3.
Let's write the other one first, then we'll solve
Oh,
it.
okay. Other one is 2x plus 3 equals negative 7.
Ah. And do you know why it can equal negative 7?
It's the same.
Because the absolute value
It's
so makes
the
it
same
It's an and.
distance from zero. It's the same.
Actually, guys, it's an or. If you haven't done that, and we didn't really talk too much about it, throw the word or into it, because it can't be this and that. Equations can't be both. So it's definitely an or. But, guys, if 2x plus 3 equals negative 7, well, what's the absolute value of that?
X of
7. So that's why it works. And then solve each one. And talk me through that, Al. You were doing a great job.
For the first one, you minus 3 from both sides of the equation, so you get 2x by itself equals 4. Divide both sides by 2, and x equals 2.
Did you write it? It's an notation.
Yeah, you can. You don't really have to right now.
No,
You do it in interval notation.
Yeah, you can write it in. I don't know if you can write equations in interval notation. I don't think
no,
so.
compoundly. Okay.
You cannot write it compoundly.
Oh yeah, because it's an
Because it's an equation. It's not less than or greater than or anything. It's equals to. Okay, Nico, question.
Are we going to get our test back before the break?
That's a very good question. I doubt it. I'm gonna try to tell you guys to check the parent portal over the break, and it'll be on there with the extra credit in there. Okay.
Yeah.
Big Al, solve the other side for us too.
Subtract 3 from both sides, so you get 2x equals negative 10.
Got it?
And divide both sides by 2, so you get x equals negative 5.
Right. So what are our two solutions here, Al?
X equals 2 and negative 5.
Okay. And if you substitute both those back in there, it would work. It would work. Okay. So everybody remember this about breaking it up. Okay. Absolute value inequalities work similar to the same way. Okay. If the absolute value of A is less than B, okay, first of all, B has to be a positive answer. It has to be a positive number, okay? There's two things that happen here. A is less than B, and A happens to be greater than negative B. Jot those two things down, and I'll explain why.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. I mean, just looking at them, like, oh yeah, I get that. But go into depth.
What a big old star.
Yeah.
The biggest.
Trust me on this. Does everybody agree that this is an absolute value, is a less than problem to begin with?
Yeah.
Okay? All
Yeah.
less than, put quotes around that, please. All less than, and it could be less than or equal to as well. All less than problems are and. And I'm going to show you a cool little trick to remember that. Okay, it's all on how you say less than. Everybody say less than.
Less than.
Rhymes with and.
Less than.
Say it.
Rhymes with Kevin. And.
Say everybody say less than.
Less
Rhymes with
than.
and.
Less than, but it doesn't.
Yeah, it's the way you say it. All less than are and, because they rhyme together. You can say them the right way. Less than are and. Now, Watch how a less than problem works. Everybody, or somebody read that problem to me from left to right.
Kevin.
Go ahead, Sean.
The absolute value of x is less than 4.
I want everybody think of an x that the absolute value of it is less than 4.
Oh,
Make up one answer off the top of your head.
2.
Aaron,
no. Nope.
negative 3. Because what's the absolute value of negative 3?
3.
3. Is that less than 4?
Yeah.
What
Okay.
if it was
Somebody
less
give me
than
another one.
2.
2,
1.
1,
0.
0,
not 4.
2
Negative
point,
0.
whatever, right?
21 fifths.
Somebody give me an x that doesn't work there.
No, 21 fifths does not work.
5 does not work.
Negative 5.
Negative 5
Oh.
does not work.
4. 4 does not work.
4 does not work. How about negative 4?
No.
No.
Pi works.
There's no or equal to.
Yeah,
Right, because there's no or equal to. All right. But here's how we're going to do this. Real similar to the equations. Okay? It's going to break up into 2 problems. Draw your 2 little branches down from your absolute value symbols.
Tricky.
You're going to write your first one just the way you see it right off the bat. X is less than 4. Now, is less than an and or an or?
And.
Everybody say it. Less than rhymes with
And.
and.
But then greater than.
Not and. It's definitely
X.
So right.
Yeah.
And.
Now,
That's
we got a double flippy going on here. Flip it and flip the sign. Greater
Double
than
flippy.
negative 4.
This is a special case.
We're not like reciprocal on anything, but we're flipping the sign and taking the opposite sign of the 4. Okay?
Oh yeah, it is.
Now, this looks like an or one. Doesn't it look like it's going to be this?
It's an and that's an or.
Well, it's not because the smaller number is written second. You never see that.
Oh yeah.
But with this stuff, the smaller numbers on the right, the bigger numbers to the left.
So it's normal.
So this is actually a normal one. Everybody draw a number line over there on the right. You just have to think backwards on this. We're looking for the overlap of greater than negative 4 and less than positive 4. Is this your traditional and, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, just shade in the stuff in the middle. And think about all the answers you guys gave me when I asked you for, give me an x where the absolute value of it is less than 4 is right there. And the ones that didn't count, okay, are outside of those the 4 and the negative 4.
So it did look
So all less than ones are and it's going to be your traditional ands. We'll talk about special cases in a minute here. You will have some of those, okay? If you wanted to write it in set notation, start a brace.
Are we going to have to?
Oh yeah. All x such that. Can anybody write that compoundly now? That's important.
Oh.
When living, take a risk.
Negative 4 is less than x, which is less than 4.
Perfect. Okay? If you wanted to write with the word and in the middle, and just the 2 things that we have written here on the left, that would be fine too. But it's better that way. Can anybody write it in interval notation?
Yeah, I mean, Kevin.
Yeah, it's easy. Easy.
I mean,
You
we've
guys are so
been
weird.
doing this.
Kevin, stop.
I know.
You're scaring the
Guys,
people in
my
the
name is
classroom.
Nico.
Nico, give it a shot.
I just work
You should have seen me last
What are you going to put around them?
I was scaring people with my outfit.
Parentheses. Negative 4, comma 4. There's the interval notation.
No one does that.
Okay?
probably one does
All right. That's an and one. All less than ones are and. Now, I need some space here, guys. We should have spaced these notes out. Okay. Here's the deal. For all absolute values of A that are greater than B, either A is greater than B or A is less than negative B. And we're going to put a big old star here. All, that's what I'm going to explain. All greater problems are, guess what word rhymes with greater? You gotta say it strangely. Everybody say greater. Greater. Say it.
What is memorized?
Greater.
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 You say greater. I heard you.
Greater.
Greater
Jeez, greater.
rhymes with or. So,
The bass of a
guys,
cheese
seriously, I got
grater.
through high school with this stuff. Listen, less than rhymes with and. Greater rhymes with or.
So if the last one was an and, that was an or, that's what it was.
We're gonna talk about those
Yes.
special
What if
cases in a
it's
minute.
Great or
So,
and?
watch. The absolute
Greater
value.
and.
Listen. The absolute value of x is greater than 4.
What if it's
What if it's an and?
what
It
if it's
sounds silly.
greater?
Greater and.
What?
What if it's an and?
A greater will not be an and problem. I'm trying to tell you that right now, Al. Greater is going to be or, less than is going to be and. You're going to have to memorize that. Come up with something. Somebody give me an x where the absolute value of it is greater than 4.
Irrelevant.
Make up an x where the absolute value of
Negative
it
8.
is greater.
-5.
-8, -5,
-10.
5,
-10.
-10,
-infinity.
-infinity,
Positive.
positive infinity.
Ooh. Or 5.
Our dog got out of our house and the police just called. They have him in custody right now.
Oh, that happened to my dog.
Yes.
Yeah, she got taken to the police station. It was scary.
I'm sure it was scary with all those criminals, dogs there.
Oh yeah, I know.
Okay,
My
so that's why I checked.
She went to dog jail.
All right.
What's your dog's name?
The one that got away is Isabel. We have 4 dogs right now. Okay,
We're back.
this is going to be back to, this is a greater one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it up, and I'm going to write it this way. I'm going to say x is greater than 4, write the original one down without the absolute value, or, who can flippy flippy?
X is
Okay.
less than -4.
X is less than -4. Which, again, you got to think of this backwards, guys. X is less than -4, or x is greater than 4.
So it's almost the same column.
Yahoo!
Bless you. Very good.
Bless you, Mr. McNulty.
Yahoo!
Okay? Open circle on the -4, going to the left, or open circle on the +4, going to the right.
Oh yeah.
And does that look like your traditional or?
Yeah.
There's the special cases, guys, are going to be so easy in a minute. I'll show you those in a second. They're actually easier than the compound inequalities.
Oh yeah.
Who can write that in set notation?
I can.
Albano, give me that in set notation.
All x such that x is less than -4 or x is greater than 4.
Perfect. Who can write that in interval notation? This is the hard one.
No, not
Okay.
really.
Interval
I
notation.
got it. I got it.
Miss Melita? Do not be scared of the people around you. I apologize for their obnoxiousness right now.
Kevin. It looks like you have no legs.
I know it is.
It's like it's you.
Negative infinity to
Oh, there's one.
4.
You have one leg.
What letter do we put in between them?
Alec, I can't see the lower part.
Union.
You don't have that.
Bully.
4, comma, infinity. Ah, the first one is -4. Thank you, Briggs. Missed my negative sign there. So negative infinity, comma, -4 with the union of 4 to infinity. That's how the or ones work.
Fancy.
Now, same thing with like we did with the equations, with the absolute value inequalities, you have to get your absolute value by itself. Isolate it. That's what that last problem says. We're not going to do those, I don't think, until tomorrow. Jump to the next page. Problem number 1. Solve and graph the following absolute inequalities. Give answers in set and interval notation like you guys have been doing. Don't blurt it out, please. If you know number 1, if it's an and or an or, raise your hand. Make the decision right now.
Less than.
And
Chupinski? It's an and. Because it's less than is an and.
Bit of blurting out.
So this is an and problem, guys. Everybody break it up into 2 problems. Don't forget to flippy and flippy. And let's make sure you got the word and in between it. Because this stuff, y minus 5, less than 2, it could also be greater than -2.
Yeah.
Okay? Sarah B, give me the two inequality problems that come out of that.
Y minus 5 is less than or equal to 2.
Then we go
Y
to
minus 5 is greater than or equal to -2.
And y minus 5 is greater than or equal to -2.
Then we go and
How many people got that?
Me.
The flippy. You guys okay with that?
Yeah.
Inequality sign flips around and they take the opposite sign of the two. Solve both those. Let's go.
Y is less than or equal to 7. Y is greater than or equal
Give me a word between them.
And.
Oh, and y is greater than or equal to 3.
Is that your traditional and?
Yes.
Yeah, it's in between. It's in between 3 and 7. It's going to be written backwards, guys, compared to the way we solved the compound inequalities in 5.4. But we can do this. Sadara, what's your question?
Okay, so let's say the problem was like y times 5. Once you get to like where you like solve the equation, would you flip the sign again?
If you multiply or divide by a negative, yes.
So
So it'd be the
y
same.
times -5, and you just like flip it again.
Yes, whenever, even with these absolute value inequalities, if you ever multiply or divide both sides by a negative, flip it around.
Guys,
Yes.
don't forget to flip the switch.
Flip the switch. Okay. Who can give me that in set notation? And try to write it compoundly. Set notation, written compoundly.
Let's go.
Briggs, give it a shot.
All x such that 3 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 7.
Perfect. Please, guys, get in the habit of writing those that way. How about the interval notation, Aaron?
I gotta have it.
What was that rule we had?
Parentheses 3 comes 7 parentheses.
Not
The big
parentheses.
wig. The big wig answered the rule.
Brackets, 3 comma
Raise
7.
their hands left
Or
and
equal
center.
to.
Greater than or equal to.
Mr. Nico.
Just write step notation. X is less than or equal to 7. And like x is greater than or equal to 3.
I would try to do this. You're going to have to do that eventually, so you might as well learn how to do it now.
Would be wrong if we
Yes. Yes.
Just
How does this period end?
10, 11, 10. I want to get done in about 5 minutes here. All right, next one. I want to give you guys some time for your quizzes.
So we still have
The next one, is it an and or an or?
It's an or.
And.
Or.
Why is it an or?
This is
Because
greater than
it's
or
great
equal
tour.
than-
It's greater is an or. Okay? Miss Meredith, give me the two inequality problems with the word or in between there that'll come from the original.
Greater than equal to 4. Or b minus 3 is less than or equal to
Perfect. Switchy. Solve both those.
B is greater than or equal to 7, or B is less than or equal to -1.
Perfect. It's your traditional or. Graph it.
Can I write it in set notation and
Sure, Kev. -1, 7. Traditional ors. You got filled in circles and going out. And Kevin, what would the set notation be?
set notation b, all b such that b is less than or equal to -1, or b is greater than or equal to 7.
Interval?
Wait, can I do
Uh,
Kev's got it.
Can I get the
Negative
interval
infinity,
notation?
parenthesis, negative infinity, comma, -1, bracket, union, bracket, 7, comma, infinity, parenthesis.
That's a mouthful. Great job, though, Kev.
Yay.
Okay? All right, we're going to finish the rest of these tomorrow. Okay, on this side. I want to get to the special cases real quick because you guys are totally going to get this.
Yeah, we are.
Number 7.
Wait, do we still have the big wig rule?
What rule?
Yeah, with
The
no
big
time
wig.
for that.
What's the big wig rule?
Oh, 7 to 8.
Hey,
Raises
hey,
the left
we
leg.
can't-
like duck.
Oh, yeah, we
Don't
definitely.
waste your.
Quinn Livin, read us problem 7 from left to right. Listen carefully.
It's saying,
Just read the problem.
so
The
for
original.
original problem,
Original problem.
4x,
There's absolute value symbol.
absolute value of 4x minus 1 is less than or equal to -9.
This is a special
Oh,
case.
that's
It's
the
no
worst,
solution.
because it can't
Why
be
is it no
negative.
solution?
Because the other number can't be negative.
Well, it actually with inequalities it can, Nico, but here's my question back to you. Can the absolute value of something be less than a negative number? No. You get, how could this, the absolute value of this junk, be less than -9? That'll never happen. So Nico, what do you think I write as an answer?
No solution.
No solution.
How would you identify that first?
Okay, if it's ever less than a negative,
Oh,
no solution.
But it can be a negative.
Wait. We're gonna get the next one. Hold on.
If it's
Can't be less than
greater-
negative. Because the only values that would make that true are things that are less than -9. And how could that junk in absolute value be less than -9?
well, if X was like negative
Well,
30.
the absolute value of it is always gonna make it positive, so it's never.
Oh wait, it could be.
Sodaro, read problem number 8 from left to right.
The absolute value of 3x plus 5 is greater than -7.
Another.
Wait, for 7, if X was -2,
It
it
can
would.
be greater.
Okay, what's -2 times 4?
-8,
-1.
-9.
What's the absolute value of -9?
Oh, no. Oh.
It's absolute value, so it'll never be negative once you do all the work, right, Al?
If it was 0, everything would cancel. 0 is less than negative.
No, it'd be -1 is, it'd be +1, so it'd be 1 would be less than -9. So.
Oh.
Dang it.
Guys, this actually is an and that does this.
Do you think graph it?
Because look, it's an and that does this. It's less than. It's an and that. Where do these two overlap?
Negative.
All right, next one.
They go around the world.
But I thought it can't be negative with
With inequalities,
the. How would that work?
the absolute value of this is going to be greater than -7.
Oh.
Quinlivan?
Would that be all reals?
All real numbers. Why? Sarah, explain.
Because if you like did 3x times number plus 5, it's always going to end up positive because it's.
The absolute value of that's going to be always a positive number, and any positive number is always what?
Oh.
Greater than -7. Guys, guess what this one is? First of all, how do you, is this an and or an or?
That'd be an
Or.
It's an or. It's great to or. It's an or that does this,
Which is all real.
which is all real numbers.
So less than is no solution, but then greater than, or no, less than.
If it's
Less than a negative
if it's
number.
less than a negative number.
It's no solution. If
That's
it's greater,
than negative.
if it's greater than a negative number, it will be all reals.
So greater is all
We have to
real.
What's
write
that?
that in set notation and interval notation.
Which one?
I can tell that word.
I didn't know that.
No, you knew the
No.
other one, 7.
I didn't know that that was an or that was going to do this.
On
Until
7,
I knew it was all
on
real.
7 you're like,
But
it's an
trust me,
and.
if you did all the work breaks, it would be an or that was greater than some number and less than some number that's bigger than the first number, which is our special
Yep,
case
on
or
7
all
you
real
said
number.
you knew that it was an and going out.
We have to write that in set notation and interval.
No.
Day 4.
And
We're eating the cans.
Sit.